What's up, folks? Welcome back to another one of my world building and creature design videos for my upcoming bestiary book. And shout out to all the subscribers out there who have helped keep this series going. Now, let's talk about this first fantastical dinosaur you see me working on here. The basis for the design is the Dilophosaurus, but combined with some elements from the Aztec serpent god Quetzalcoatl and a spitting cobra. This mixture was actually an idea that one of my subscribers came up with during one of my past live streams, and I thought it was a perfect concept to draw up, and so here we are. The region that this animal inhabits is the exotic Kundalat jungles, which you can see is right over here on my world map. So for the design aspects, the body frame I kept similar to the Dilophosaurus for the most part, but I elongated the neck to be more serpent-like. The signature head crest that the Dilophosaurus is known for, I used as the basis for these feathered frills all over its body. And these feathered frills will flare out as a means for intimidation or to attract mates. There is sexual dimorphism amongst the species, where just like in birds, the males of this species have much brighter and colorful feathers, and they do this whole mating dance for the females where they strut around and flare out these feathers. This idea also worked perfectly since I carried those frills into the sides of the neck, which kind of ties into that whole cobra-like aspect as well. You'll see with the colors that towards the tips of the feathers, I gave them these spots that look like false eyes, and I just definitely feel like this was one of those concepts that everything kind of came out exactly how I imagined it would, which is always the most satisfying part of drawing in my opinion. I went with a pretty straightforward name for these creatures. I'm just calling them Quetzalosaurs. You can probably figure out how I came up with that. But they're not overly large predators. They're basically the general size of actual Dilophosauruses, just with a longer neck. And I'm talking about the real ones, not the totally fictional tiny ones that were popularized by Jurassic Park. I never really understood why they nerfed its size, but then again, they also did like the complete opposite with the Velociraptors. But anyways, since they're a pretty decent size, maybe these could serve as mounts to some native tribes there in the jungles or something. It would probably be pretty dope to see some sort of primalist warrior all dripped out in feathered gear from these beasts while riding atop one of them with like a spear in their hand. I definitely want to start designing some more armor and weapon stuff here on the channel, so maybe I'll sketch that idea out here soon. And speaking of ideas, let's go ahead and take a minute to check out the sponsor of today's video. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across all sorts of categories, including illustration, design, freelance, and so much more. They offer literally thousands of classes here, folks, and they range from a beginner level to more advanced depending on where you're currently at in life. You'll learn about all sorts of different tools, techniques, and professional journeys from the experts teaching here on the platform. The lessons are also stackable, so members can learn at their own pace, which is great because everybody's situation in life is different. With me personally, I've really just started to put some real effort and consistency into growing my channel here this past year, and Skillshare offers tons of different classes where I can pick up some good information for growing as a freelancer. My whole life, I've pretty much always had to go seek out and find the information on my own because I didn't have any mentors or know anybody that was an expert in the things that I was interested in. I'm self-taught in a lot of things, which means I've had a lot of trial and error. And if I would have had something like Skillshare, then I probably could be a lot further along in my overall skill and knowledge. The first 500 people to use my link in the description box down below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so get started today. And here is the completed entry for the Quetzalosaurus, and I just really love the way the colors turned out on this one. And now I'll read off its lore entry here before we flip the page to check out the other flavor text. There are very few creatures in all of the animal kingdom as beautifully colored as this feathered fiend. An incredibly deadly predator, the Quetzalosaurus can be found within the exotic Kundalat jungles. The males have much more vibrant feathers than the females, which they show off during their mating dance where they flash and flare their wing-like frills. When confronted by foes, they can shoot out a stream of potent venom from the glands within their fanged mouths. Many warriors from the region will often coat their bladed weapons with this deadly purple toxin. Okay, so now let's flip the page over so y'all can see some more intel. With the sketch here, I wanted to have its feathers retracted so you can see how they look normally without everything flared out. And now with this one complete, let's move on to the other dinosaurian design for today's video. So this one here I've been sitting on for a while now. I was originally going to save it as the last creature reveal before the release of my bestiary book, but since I had to push back that time frame of when I'm going to publish it through Amazon, I figured I might as well just show off some stuff that I already had completed. This one is based off my super basic favorite dinosaur of all time, the T-Rex. My idea going into this one was that I wanted to make it look as mean and primalistic as possible. So obviously that meant tusks, spikes, and a thick coat of woolly fur down its hide. And yes, I said fur. This is a fantasy realm, so I don't want to hear shit about how it should be feathers. I want to design a damn woolly Rex, so that's what I'm going to do. Plus, if you've seen some of my previous vids, you know I like giving reptilian creatures like dragons some fur from time to time. And in this world, dinosaurs are related to things like dragons, drakes, wyverns, and worms. And since all of them can have fur, my dinosaurs can as well. And these three key design features of tusks, spikes, and fur are part of what I coin as the holy trinity for primal looking beasts. Now the region it inhabits is going to be this large expansive area called the Northern Steppes. Think of a biome akin to Siberia. There's rolling plains and hills, small patches of forests here and there, and of course it gets blanketed in snow quite often. During the summers, the weather is perfect here, and numerous species of animals migrate to the steppes during this time period. Plant life becomes abundant, which brings in creatures like mammoths, which means there's some beefy food sources for these tyrannical beasts. Seeing a T-Rex battle a Triceratops is one thing, but how about a fantasy world where you get them hunting mammoths instead? But anyways, outside of the summer and late spring, the rest of the time these lands are constantly blasted with thunder snowstorms. And yes, that is a real thing, Google it. And these dinosaurs, which I'm officially naming Brutonitrus Rex, or B-Rex for short, are super well adapted to these crazy harsh conditions of the biome. You see, those spikes basically work as lightning rods, and when they get struck, the lightning gets absorbed into their fur. This fur is white in color, but it begins to glow in a golden yellow as the elemental energy courses within them. You got some competition, Rajang, watch out. So they can charge up this electrical energy and power up their bite to do lightning damage. And just to paint the picture of how that charge up looks, just imagine it looking similar to how legendary Godzilla's dorsal plates light up when he's charging his atomic breath, with it starting from the base of the tail and coursing up the spine towards the head. This power is not an infinite resource, however, so once they run out, they gotta wait for the next storm to get this ability back. I wanted to make sure and do this one justice, so I hope y'all like the overall concept and how it turned out. And here we have the completed piece for the Brutonitrus Rex. Now for its lore. A thunderous boom echoes across the northern steppes, but this is no lightning storm. It is the sound of the crunching jaws of the despotic Brutonitrus Rex. The most highly feared beast amongst the natives of the region, no one is safe when these creatures draw near. They are the perfect killing machine. The B-Rex is incredibly well adapted to the harsh thunder snowstorms that often plague the steppelands. Their jagged spikes are coated in a metal-like substance that draws the lightning to them, which gets stored into their woolly manes. This electrical energy helps keep them energized in the grueling winters when their favorite food source, the grave-tusked mammoth, migrates to the west. It can also use this stored lightning to generate a powerful elemental bite that is capable of decimating all who stand in its way. On occasion, these monsters can be seen clashing in turf wars with the Yetis that venture down into the steppes during the winters. Now let's turn the page here. And I actually redid the sketch on this one like 4 different times. This dude is actually a pain in the ass to draw, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. Do me a solid if you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on my content as well as join the ever-growing community here. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.